Rhett Lashlee and SMU take on Clemson Saturday night for the ACC Championship. And Rhett, you and I were visiting before we started. It's been a lot of years since we crossed paths, man. It's great to see you with things going so well. Thanks for taking a little time here.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
It's a pleasure. I had intended to go one direction here, but you went on with it. My guy Andy Staples and the Andy and Ari podcast, and you kind of said the quiet part out loud. And it's something, frankly, I'd wondered about for a long time. Like, if a team gets to this weekend, and in some ways they could only be penalized by being in this game at all, right? If they lost and maybe they don't make it where they're in right now, I don't know how you sort of move forward with that. So, I mean, you made the point, and you're not wrong. Like, hey, if my whole team gets COVID, we're in right now. But you're not going to do that. But that conversation, I think, is real, isn't it, Rhett?
Yeah, I mean, it could be. I hope not. You know, I'm choosing to have faith in the committee that we've done enough and we're in, regardless of what happens Saturday, you know, based on what they've said, that they're not going to penalize teams for earning a right into a conference championship game. But, you know, we're ranked in the top 12. We're ranked 8th right now. So today, if the college football playoff was happening, we're in. And that's right at the end of the regular season where everybody's played on a level playing field. Some of us earned the right to get to play in a conference championship game. And so I could understand that maybe having an effect on your seeding. But, you know, I don't think there's any maybe logic that makes sense that if teams are ranked behind us right now but would be in with an at-large and did not reserve or earn the right to play for a conference championship, and they do nothing this weekend, they're in, but you, being us or anyone else that's playing this weekend and is already in the field, as we are right now, loses, I think you're going to have a much bigger problem than just SMU being disappointed if that's what happens.
All right, Rhett, and this is something I thought about and I wondered about, and here you are. You're the example of it because you're correct. You've earned the right to be in this game against Clemson. But it's not unreasonable to say, and I've watched you play, so I know you're good. But your schedule hasn't asked as much of you as some others. And so what I would ask you is, what's a reasonable way to digest that? Some of it's not your fault. You're new to the ACC. You don't get to choose who you play in conference, so you didn't get to play some of the better teams from that conference. But how do we reasonably process that data point?
Yeah, well, first off, we're really grateful that the committee has chosen to rank us 8th because they're proving that they believe we belong in the playoff after the regular season, that our body of work is enough. We agree with that, and we're grateful for that. Look, we got a top 20 scoring defense and a top 5 scoring offense. We're a complete team. We played 10 Power 4 games. We played 2 teams from the Big 12. One finished 10-2, one 8-4. 3 of the 4 teams that are currently in the field from the Big 10 did not play a single Power 4 out-of-conference game. You know, and you hear this stuff about ranked wins. Well, it's ranked in the eyes of the committee. We beat teams that were ranked this year. They're not ranked anymore because we beat them. And you know, we've got 9 wins against Power 4 opponents. I don't know how people calculate strength of schedule, but we've got, I think, 6 or 7 wins against teams that have winning records. So we've played a good schedule. I don't feel like I have to defend our schedule, and I also don't feel like I have to defend the fact that we've won 9 straight games. You know, the consistency of performance, I hope, will carry the day for us in the end, and I think that's why the committee's ranked us 8th right now.
You know what's funny, Rhett? I go back to when there was just 2, and I can vividly recall sitting there on a Saturday night, and literally it became like a telethon. Pete Carroll called the show. Nick Saban called the show. We weren't a call-in show. There was coaches just trying to politic because there were only 2 spots. Then we got to 4, and that was better. Now we got 12. And, Rhett, I feel like more coaches, and I don't mean you, but the people that are on the outside looking in, and people are complaining and screaming and saying, look at this, look at that. I guess the point here is that there's just never going to be enough spots to get enough teams in that probably could win a game or 2 if they got the chance, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like the NCAA tournament. No matter how many games and teams you expand it to, someone's going to be disappointed. And that's what makes our sport great. You can always argue data points. You can always argue an opinion and pretty much find stats to back up your version of the opinion, right?
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that is at stake here is not facts. It's principle. It's precedent. It's a committee has said through the regular season, you guys are in. And there's other teams that didn't earn the right by their performance to play in their conference championship game. Now, if you're playing in a conference championship game this weekend, which some are, and they're not in, like if the committee would have ranked us 13th or 14th, I get that. You're telling me we got to win. I'm good with that. but you put us in, and you're saying teams that are also in right now, if they don't play, like I said, that's why I think the biggest issue is we got to worry about SMU. We got to go play a really good Clemson team. We need to find a way to win that game, control what we control like we have all year. But you'll have a bigger problem long term with the principle that has been set if you penalize people for qualifying for the championship game. Because to the point I made earlier today, then why should we play in this game? We believe in competition. We want to compete for our championship. It's the right thing to do. And that's why I trust that the committee is going to do the right thing regardless of our outcome Saturday night.
But here's the best news, Rhett. You got a really good football team. It's not like you won a scratch-off ticket that earned you a spot here. And I think that when Kevin Jennings became your guy, he changes the dynamic on offense. You reference your defense. It's better than I think people know. And I was impressed with this. At the end of the year, you guys finished strong. You go up, you play a Virginia team you never know, and you finish with a couple of big blowout wins. And I feel like how many is it? You won in a row? 9, right? I got that right? 9 in a row?
Yes.
Everything is putting you in a position to play your toughest game as good as you've been all year. So I guess I'm asking you to just sort of frame the confidence that you take to Charlotte Saturday night.
I got a lot of confidence. We got a special team. It's a really fun team. It's been fun to coach them. A lot of experience. Won 11 games last year. Now won 11 games this year. It's a complete team. They love playing together with each other. And to do what they've done, to go into the ACC this year, no team had ever made the Group of 5 to Power 5 jump and even had a winning conference record. We went 8-0, won our games by an average of 19 points, have the number 1 defense in the league, the number 1 rush defense in the league, top 5 run defense in America, number 1 in the country in quarterback pressures. We've talked about a top 5 scoring offense with what Kevin Jennings can bring to the table. It's a fun group because they don't care who gets the credit. They're not out for themselves. They just love their team. They love to compete and win. And so that's what gives me great confidence going into any game as a coach, particularly this weekend against a really, really good Clemson team with a national championship winning coach.
Look, it had been fun to talk a whole lot more ball, but this is kind of the world we live in right now. And I'm not asking you to make your case, but I knew that you would frame it in a way that would make sense to me and our viewers. So I just appreciate you doing it. Congrats on what you've already done, and good luck with what you all hope to do from here, all right? I appreciate you.
Scott, I appreciate you having me on and appreciate the opportunity. Go Mustangs.